Everyone, I want to say happy belated Loving Day, and right now we having Juneteenth and Multiracial Heritage Week. And the reason I'm saying happy belated Loving Day because on the 12th, which is today's the 15th, I think. Yeah, make sure. Mm. Yes, today's 15th. It's a Monday, and so a couple days ago, on the 6th, 12th, on the 12th of June, 1967, Supreme Court uh, allow all interracial marriage and abolish laws against interracial marriage, especially between those who classify as black and white. And also they got rid of the one drop rule, which a lot of folks did not know about. Okay, so I'm going to talk about why I'm celebrating this, and also along with Juneteenth, along with Multiracial Heritage Week. Okay, um, first we go with the June. First we go with the Loving Day. Loving Day. Mildred Jeter was mixed with African American and Native American. She was classified as black by the one drop rule, and she was in love with this white man named Richard Loving. And they couldn't get married in Virginia because of interracial laws. I mean, laws against miscegenation, which is race mixing. So they went to Washington D.C. In Washington D.C., that's where I think who's also mixed. Fred Douglass was mixed. His second wife his second wife was a white woman. Okay, so during this time, back in the '60s, they got married, and um, the when they came back, and everybody was celebrating because I watched the movie with her, with Lee Rashard, who played Wade His Hair and Hard, she played Wade His Hair, Hard Nights, and Boomerang. Wait, she played Mrs. Loving, Mildred Mildred Jeter Loving. And when they came back, that's when the cops had got them in their bedroom and told them to go to jail. And when they went to jail, the judge, wrinkle, I don't want to go there because it's an educational video because I want to cuss, said God made different races and a different country that he did not tend to mix. I don't know where he found it in scripture because I guess I'm damned that he held because I'm mixed with black and white Native American, but enslaved masters chose to mix. Okay, so point is that's not true. And let's not forget that the first man come out of Africa. And when the first man Eve came out of Africa, and their descendants chose to leave Africa and go to different continents. Let's get that straight, okay? So, and there was no such thing as black, white, and all these other different racial categories until the Europeans went to different lands and found out it was people they were not of color, okay? So, point is, that's what he said to the couple, and they had a choice either to leave Virginia or go to prison. And so they chose to go to Washington D.C. And they couldn't find jobs, and they were getting discriminated too because people saw it was a racial couple. They chose to live in the ghetto, but they had to force to live in the ghetto. And then they had their first son. I think Peggy was the second child. Peggy is a daughter. Peggy, 11, 14, she's married, and the other brother came in, and so when they had her Peggy's oldest brother, that's when he went to go visit, show the baby, and then they got caught in Virginia, and Richard was a race car driver, so he drove fast, he passed the police officers, they couldn't get him, what I'm saying, they were weaving through the traffic and weaving through the woods, okay, like Little Bit say that song, that song, on the Fast and Furious song when the first Fast and Furious came out. So I like the song "Weave Through the Traffic." Um, Act the Fool, yeah, the song "Act the Fool." So after they stayed there, she written a letter to Congress or somewhere in Washington D.C. And they wanted to get married. They wanted to abolish these laws. Well, some white attorneys came in. They said this is unconstitutional back in slavery days, and that's when they won. They went to the state court and the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court favored the Loving over Virginia, Loving couple over Virginia, and that's what every time about me talking about the one job rule was unconstitutional because of that case. Please understand the Loving versus Virginia case. So that means even though at the time. I can check 3 boxes now, but I was only classified as black because I had one drop of black blood. I couldn't marry a white girl, whatever. They probably been leaning on Hispanic or Asian and American, even though some Hispanics sometimes classify as white, but even Southern Texas, brothers and Latinos or Mexicans did get married. Okay, yeah, that's the truth. It's nothing new. Just like in Mexico, they have a lot of Mexicans who are mixed of African and Spanish and American due to the slave trade that came before the slaves coming to the colonial part of Mexico before Mexico got its independence. Okay, they had a second president who was part African and part Spanish and part Native American. His name is the Guerrero. That's all I talk about all the time. This Guerrero is one of my heroes because he battled slavery in Mexico way before the United States did. So, point is, Asian, Native American, of course, Native American and African American marriages did exist. Many of us are mixed with it because, like, my great grandmother, no, my great grandmother on my dad's side, my grandmother's great grandmother on her father's side, her father's paternal grandmother was like a white woman who was part Native American, part black. She was married to my Choctaw Native American ancestor. From my grandma Charlotte? Yeah. Yeah, so she was married to my Choctaw, full-blown Choctaw American, Native American ancestor. And then, on my grandfather's side, even though his grandma was dark skinned, but she was a mix of Creole and Native American. Fresh Creole, because just in Louisiana. Then that's on my dad's side. Then on my mother's side, I don't know. All I know is that my great grandfather, on my grandfather's side, I started researching, his family from Virginia came to Texas. And I carry his last name. Okay, my grandfather on my mother's side, not my dad's family. Okay, and I'm going to be a change because I'm put my dad's last name along with my mother's last name because they were never was married when I got married. Okay, so my mother on my grandmother on my mom's side, her could that be her grandmother? Yeah, her grandma was named American. No, her great grandmother was named American. Okay, my grandmother's on my mother's side, grandma was named American. On her dad's side, Grandpa Red, he's still living, 96 this year. His mother was part Native American. Her mother's side, yeah, his grandmother was Native American on his mom's side. Then his father's father, which is his grandfather, or his paternal grandfather was looked like a white man mixed with French Creole. Okay, then he was 3 quarters white, which is a quadroon. Okay, and then kind of like to use the word quarters, then blood quarters mess. And then already called 3 quarters white. And then Medea, I keep forget to talk about Medea, my great grandmother, Grandpa Red's widowed wife, God rest her soul. She was a sweet great grandmother. Okay, she passed away in 2007. She was dark skinned, and they called them Geechees. Those were dark skinned Creoles. Okay, that's how my great aunt told me. Uh, Her father was from Louisiana, Alexandria. They was mixed with French Creole, Geechee. So that's how I got mixture. So my point is, yeah. So the Native Americans could marry African American. Yeah, and actually they was not considered Americans. And as I found out when I was working the poll monitor, no, not no stripper poll. Stop it. Poll monitor. I was in poll monitor last year for voting rights, and we was learning about. And I found out that Native Americans, my Native American people, our Native American people, those was not considered Americans to the 1940 something. That was a shock. So yeah, they can get married. They can get married with whites as well, even though they're trying to get the blood clot and all that stuff, and we get married with whites. So point is, you know, if I married an American or Asian, or they probably get, but if it was a white woman, it'd be a totally disregard from the government. So I'm glad this law, this ban abolishing of the miscegenation laws, uh, or they allow me to marry who I want to marry, and also allow me to claim my multiracial background because they found the one drop rule to be unconstitutional. So, and even 2000 census laws check more than one box. Now you see job application section D.com. Hello to D.com. I'll be doing my job applications on D.com. They have 2 races or more box. And allow us to project who we really are, not about what society sees us as in their ignorance. So I'm glad that loving couple did this, and I thank God, for Martin King and other civil rights leaders and the living couple to fight for our rights. Okay, now let's go on with the Juneteenth. Okay, I live in Texas. In Texas, it's still, I'm sorry, in a mindset, a slave in KKK state. And the reason I'm saying is because, all right, Texas was stolen from Mexico, okay, by white Anglo folks from the South, southern states who came to Texas who bought African American descendant slaves mixed up here, okay? And what happened, the reason why Texas is why I'm not too bash of the illegal immigration because how because the history repeats itself, and guess what? Karma. I don't believe in karma, but sometimes what goes around come around. Okay, so I'm not too upset about illegal immigrants who are Latino, which is what I'm saying. I'm not. And I'm gonna tell you the reason why. Because as I mentioned earlier, the second president of Mexico was part African and part Spaniard and part Native American, which his name is Vicente Guerrero. And he abolished slavery in Mexico. So after he was killed a couple years later, because he abolished it in 1920s, 1820, excuse me, he and he emancipated slaves in 1829. I think 1826 he abolished slavery, and he still the Spaniards would not let go of Afro-Mexican slaves, and he abolished it. Okay, he made them emancipated slaves. So when he got killed, later on they had other presidents, and then during before Texas become part of the Confederacy, it was part of Mexico. Anglo-American slave masters came to Texas. That's why I do not even though I rep the town Houston, I don't like Sam Houston. I don't like Stephen Austin, and I definitely don't like David Crocker because the reason why they was fighting the Alamo due to the issue of slavery. Okay, what happened was when they came to Texas, the Anglo Americans from the American South came to Tejas, as they call it in Spanish. They had brought slaves, and the Mexican government in Coahuila had told them to, hey, emancipate the slaves. It is against the law to have slaves. So the white Anglo-Saxon slave masters who were from the South who came to Texas, immigrated to Texas, luckily they didn't use them, ask them for their immigration status, because I'm sure they wasn't citizens to Texas. Well, anyway, they told the Mexican government, hey, we lose a slave, pay us each slave we lose. Every slave we lost, so we can, saying, because we going to be poor. And the Mexican government, Coahuila, said no. Coahuila is a state in Mexico. They said no, emancipate the slaves. We're not saying that, either you go and get out of Texas, or eat their house, or you get arrested, whatever. So they rebelled against the state, and against Mexico. That's why Santa Anna had to come. Santa Anna was also a drug addict, okay? And I'm remembering this other reason why. Because while the fight in the Alamo was going on, and they even had some mulatto folks who were either slave or either freedmen fighting on the Texan side, and also some Mexicans who were fighting on the Texan side as well against Mexico. It's point of tight, dang it. Anyway, so what happened was the reason why the Santa Anna lost. That's why because his drug habit. Because there was a mulatto. She was a runaway slave called Emily Morgan West. Okay, they call it Emily Morgan. The hotel in San Antonio is Emily Morgan. They call it Emily West. She was either a free woman, basically she was a slave, runaway slave. She was mulatto, and she's known as the Yellow Rose of Texas, and it's due to her skin tone. Okay, high yellow. So when Santa Anna saw her, he saw how beautiful she was. He picked her up and took her in his horse. And right about Galena Park, Texas, about Pasadena, the Ship Tunnel Bridge. Okay, no, the Washburn Tunnel. Okay, they caught Santa Ana right in their area because while they caught him with his drawers on, so they were doing the wild thing. Okay, him and Emily Morgan. And when they gave him some drugs, okay? And when he gave him some drugs, because they had drugs back in the days, don't let nobody lie to there was no drugs back in the days, okay? Coca-Cola used to have cocaine in it, yes. The drink Coca-Cola used to have, that's when they got the name Coca-Cola from. We learned it in elementary school. So when when he got high and they made him sign the bill, and they lost the fight. And so when Mexico lost the fight, it became its own state. Texas became the Republic of Texas. They were trying to keep the mulatto folks. Already I was in the Job Corps about Cocoa Black history in Texas. They were trying to keep those mulatto folks, the mulatto men who was married to white women. Yes, that's true. who are on the Texan side. They're trying to kick him out, but they went to the government of the Republic of Texas, to let them stay in Texas. So Texas later on became part of the Confederacy. So of course, people in Texas who fought on the Confederate side lost. So when they fought the Civil War and the Union won, and like Abraham Lincoln, that's what happened. Okay, the rest of the South knew about the Emancipation Proclamation, okay? But Texas did not know about it. So the slaves were still slaves while they were supposed to be free. So during June, I think June 19th or June 10th, correct me y'all, during them 10th, okay, that's when in 1965, so 3 years after slavery was abolished, the government came there and said, excuse me, they're supposed to be free. And that's why Texans of African American descent like myself celebrate Juneteenth. Okay? All right? And that's why people could get the barbecue. Like, for example, I still got some stamps on my stamps. I might go to the cheap store, buy me some ribs. Because, if everybody know, I love me some barbecue ribs. I don't know how to make barbecues with them in the oven. Barbecue rib and chicken, not brisket, I like brisket, and potato salad and beans. Whether it be pinto beans, pork and beans, bacon beans, baked beans, whatever. It don't matter bacon beans, baked beans or whatever. Okay, I sure do. I sure do. So I sure do. Should I say? Okay, so that's where they found. That's what we celebrate Juneteenth, and other states celebrate Juneteenth as well, especially those of African Americans who are Texan, go to Texan who are Texan or family from Texas, they go to other states and they bring the holiday there. So that's why I'm saying happy Juneteenth, happy Loving Day, and I'm about to go to Multiracial Heritage Week, which is I'm glad they put it in during Juneteenth, and I'm a Texan. Juneteenth, I'm multiracial and black as well. Multiracial mixed part black as well. This is a good day, and it's also Black Music Month. Okay, it's good. Okay, so all right. So in June, so we're gonna talk about Multiracial Heritage Week. Uh, Project Race, which is a white woman and African American man who interracial couple, married interracial couple who have children. They've been trying to get the multiracial category on census and on records. Okay, and you already heard me talk about a long history about back in the 90s how multiracial movies big. So I got into, got interested in it because I started knowledge about multiracial identity and heritage in my teen years. And I'm 35 years old. So you probably heard on my video talk about the multiracial heritage, multiracial solidarity march. It happened in July of 1996, which next year will be the 20th anniversary of that. Which is it was 1 year after the Man March. Okay, so a lot of interracial couples, a lot of multiracial people went down to Washington and begged the government, hey, give us our multiracial box until the civil rights community groups in the minority groups like the NAACP, National Council of the Raza, LULAC, which is a Latin version of NAACP, Asian League, AIM, which is abbreviated for American Indian Movement, and also the Asian League. They protest claiming they'll lose numbers if we have a multiracial category, I category, because many of us, especially in the minority community, are racially mixed. So what happened was the government allowed us to say 1920 and then 1920. Stop it, sorry. 2000, because it was 1999 when they made it, like 1999, 1998, yeah, when I was graduating high school. That's when, yeah, they made a decision. Hey, we're going to 1997, yeah, 1997, especially after Tiger Woods, he was combination on Oprah. They made a decision to say that people mix ancestors you can check. I mean, one of the Chronicle saying this. Literally said people mix ancestors you can check more than one box. And I remember checking one box in 2000. In 2010, I get a chance to when I moved to my apartment in 2012. Actually, I had the apartment in 2011, but the census record came in 2012, and I put black, white, Native American, American Indian, we want to call it. Okay, so I prefer Native American, but they put American Indian. Okay, so what happened? So we've been trying to get a multiracial heritage week. That's what the Project Race did. Susan Graham and her husband and her children, who's are now adults now, have been trying to get the Heritage Week. Now, even though I'm a Democrat and do not like Rick Perry, but last year during June, he signed here in Texas. He was governor when Wendy Davis and Red Albaugh, who beat Wendy Davis, sadly, because I want Wendy Davis to win, who's a Democrat. Okay, when Rick Perry signed off that we can have a multiracial heritage week during this week. So, I'm satisfied. You heard me talk about Happy Juneteenth and Multiracial Heritage Week. So we have it right now. It's just like Juneteenth is on the 19th. And I'm happy that we're having this going on. So I'm celebrating my African American heritage and my multiracial heritage as a whole. During this time, I sometimes wish they had multiracial heritage month on August. Oops, my birthday. I didn't say it that way. That's my birthday. Okay, so I mean, birthday year, but mine. So point is, I'm glad. I wish they did have it in those during school hours, school years, school months, because what I'm saying, during the month of school years, should I say? Because I want people on multiracial heritage to be celebrate in the public schools. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I can celebrate um, multiracial. I mean, my African American heritage and my Native American heritage. For example, Native American Heritage Month is on November. African American, which is called Black History Month, is on February. So I would love to celebrate. I always wanted, to be known because there's no French Creole. Although we have French Creole Heritage Festival in February here in Houston. And Mardi Gras they had this year. I didn't get a chance to go like I did this year, like I did last year. In English, I mean, white people don't have a Heritage Month, which is their heritage always celebrate anyway. So anyway, that's all I have to say. But I'm glad that we celebrating this right now, and thank y'all for listening. And happy Juneteenth, happy Loving Day, and happy Multiracial Heritage Week. All right, bye bye. Have a nice day.